One. Perfect timing. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a back-to-back edition of the Four Idiots Fade You podcast. Back-to-back just because it's been so long since we, have been consistent streaming with you guys. But thank you for viewing. We got Jay Buff here filling in for our marathon man, Chris Poopy Dookie. So I hope he doesn't tear his Achilles again because I don't know if he's ready for a marathon. Anyway, we got Chaz McLongball as always, Joey Cheese at TGen for life, and it doesn't matter if you follow me or not. I'm just here as part of the Cheese Army. I mean, I know they're all there watching. Basically, our full audience is because of this man. So
that's not true. Stop it.
We're a squad. Thank you for making us relevant again because we all kind of gave up and now we're having fun again.
I refuse to let everyone quit.
You're like the glue that holds us all together. What are you talking?
I refuse to let everyone quit. But listen, welcome in college football, November 16th, big slate. The boys have been hot. Kmart gave out a bunch of winners last week. Cheese swept the board. I think I went 4-0. I think 10-1 my last 11 college plays. Chase has been finding some winners. Buff's doing his damn thing. But let's get into today's slate. We got some big stuff going. Those of you that follow me on Twitter know I got a big play tonight. Buff's got a couple games he wants to talk about. Chase has a best bet he wants to talk about. And we got some other big games to break down. So let's start in the 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time window. There's a big game, relatively big game. Texas at Arkansas. Current numbers across the board. Arkansas seems to be catching 13.5 at most spots. Anyone have an opinion here before I get into it a little bit? Kmart, any opinion here on Texas, Arkansas?
I mean, my only opinion is I would probably lean Arkansas because they're at home, but we were talking about it pre-recording. Not really looking to get in front of Texas. I think he made the point that I think a lot of people, with the college football playoff are thinking about. They're kind of like a fake number 3 right now. So, they really need to impress, get some big wins, and not just big wins, but is Jay Buff still likes to allude to the BCS, really try to change the minds of the committee, and really have, after especially that home loss to Georgia, just, some big wins by a lot. And it's going to have to start, probably here.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it a little bit with you guys before the show. I think Texas turned a corner last week. Beat the absolute piss out of Florida. I dodged a bullet there. I leaned Florida last week. It just looks like Quinn Ewers found it, man. This Texas team, I think, needs to impress people. Their schedule is absolute garbage. Their biggest test of the year, game I was at, they got their heads beat in by the Dogs. I think the only side in this game that I could play is Texas. Laying the points. I think Ewers goes off. I could see Texas win this game by 3 touchdowns. But not a game I played. Buff, do you have an opinion here real quick?
No, I didn't have any opinion on this one. Once I started diving into it, I saw that the number has kept coming down. I think it was at 14 or 13.5. And then something to think about too is, like Joey just mentioned, a couple of years ago, Arkansas went in there and absolutely smashed them. They won that game by like 20 points. So I kind of think that's on Sark's mind. That was one of his first games that he played as the head coach. They lost 40-21 against Arkansas. I think Texas gets payback in a big way today. So I agree with Joey. It would be Texas or nothing for me.
Yeah. Chase, I want to talk about a game that you're actually rocking the sweatshirt right now.
Oh yeah.
We talked about it a little bit pre-show. Sparty at Illinois. Illinois seems to be pretty. It's 2.5 across the board, more or less. We talked about it. I had an opinion. Sparty was on my list Sunday night that I made. Just couldn't quite get to the window. Chase, what do you like in this Sparty Illinois game?
It's so hard for me because Illinois has been they're my team, but they've been so bad for so long that I just expect the worst out of them. So in games like this, I always expect them like, this is the game, they suck ass, and then just don't show up. But I don't know, man. The last couple years, man, they've slowly been making progress. Altmaier looks like a legitimate quarterback in college, at least. He's not turning the ball over a lot. He's hanging on to it for a change. So I can't pick a side in this one. Fandom isn't going to allow me to. Gun to my head, I'd probably lean Illinois.
Yeah, the short line at home screams Sparty to me.
It does.
Kmart, did you have an opinion here?
Yeah, I mean, the line smells like shit. I mean, it smells worse than Chris after he finishes this marathon. Like, but even with, I mean, that's the only reason I'm really not playing it. Like, I really want to hammer Illinois just because it's like, it's kind of what we preach. It's like, shit, all they have to do is win by a field goal. Like, they should win by 7, should win by 10. But again, it's Illinois. This is generally where they lose a game. And I got another game that I did bet with the exact same line where I think it's just going to get a lot of fake sharp money. And even Chris agreed earlier in the week where, we think, this team I'm betting can potentially, as Joey would say, run the brakes off of them.
The big issue I see with Illinois is they've been blown out 2 weeks in a row. Minnesota, I mean, they only ended up winning by 8, but Oregon beat the brakes off of them the week before that. Like, they're going to be motivated, I would think.
But Chase, like, I know stuff we like to talk about, like, but at what point is it just because Illinois fucking sucks? Like, you know what I mean? Like, at one point, at some point, it's got to be like,
because that big win against Michigan isn't so, like, doesn't look so good anymore.
What do you mean doesn't look so good? It doesn't even look good at all. Michigan.
That's what I'm saying. Like a month ago, it was just like, oh wow, look at them, smack around Michigan. Like the jury was still, they're okay, good defense,
blah blah blah. But now because of the name on the jersey, But
now we know.
Crash.
I mean, Joe, you make a good point. Looking at the schedule, they got their brow beat in by Penn State. They beat fucking Purdue by a point at home. Yep. They beat Michigan, which now looks like an average win, and then they got the brakes beat off of them 2 weeks in a row. I mean, the last 5 don't look good.
They fucked me. I was on Nebraska pretty big earlier in the year. And Illinois looked like fucking Ohio State in that game. Buff, any opinion on this game before we move on?
Yeah, we took Michigan State. I took it on Wednesday, 2.5. Couple things I looked at. Number one, Michigan State's getting 2 of their best players back on defense, linebacker and free safety, coming off their bye week, so they're getting a little bit healthy. Michigan State defensive numbers as far as against the pass, which is what Illinois has been actually pretty good with Altmaier. Michigan State's defense is towards the top 50 in college football. I think this defense is going to give Illinois a little bit of trouble. Like you guys said, the line kind of stinks and it kind of screams that Michigan State's going to pull off an upset here. So I'm on Michigan State. They're coming off their bye. They've had 13 days to prepare for this game. And I think those key guys that are coming back off of injury are definitely going to help them here. So, yeah, I'm on Michigan State here.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's the way I look too. All right, well, let's get into some of our plays. I know it's a college football pod, but I alluded to this morning I'd be giving out my only college basketball play here. I played St. Peter's -1 versus UMBC at 2:00 Eastern Standard Time. The St. Peter's team plays defense. They just gave Rutgers a run for their money. I know everyone likes to say, well, they're 0-3. They haven't won yet. They have played a gauntlet compared to what University of Maryland Baltimore has played. This UMBC team likes to run and gun. They will chuck up 4,000 threes today. I think St. Peter's shuts them down in the half court. So yeah, I made this line St. Peter's -3. So at -1, I see enough value there to play this side for 1 unit. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out real quick. Don't want to take the show hostage. Let's get in some plays. Buff, I know you got a couple. Why don't you talk a little bit about Charlotte +2.5 and why you played them?
Okay, hold on. Let me go to my notes. Yeah, so kind of a weird scheduling. Charlotte's had 13 days off. They've had a lot of time to prepare. South Florida, tough game last week against Navy. They actually lost 2 of their better players. One guy that's on defense that plays on the defensive line is out this week. They also lost one of their wide receivers against Navy. They gave up over 300 plus yards on the ground, South Florida last week. Charlotte, good team that rushes the ball. They got 2 or 3 guys that they use that have different, that have rushed the ball so far this year for them. I think that what they see from last week with Navy struggling, South Florida to stop them against the run, I think Charlotte's going to do the same thing. I think you're going to get a heavy dose of ground game. It's homecoming week this week at Charlotte, so tickets are sold out. I saw that on the website. I think this is going to be a big ruckus crowd. They're playing at home.
Charlotte sold out today?
Yep, Charlotte game is sold out. It's homecoming week.
380 people?
420. Yep, close. Yeah. Also, another thing I looked at, their 81% touchdown rate inside the red zone. So when Charlotte gets down there, they're doing a good job of converting touchdowns. I think this is a tough spot for South Florida to go on the road after getting beat up last week against Navy. So I took Charlotte +2.5 at home.
All right. I don't think that was a game any of us had on our radar, right?
Love the reasoning.
Yeah, it's good. All right. Well, I know 3 of us share a big play. We got a couple other ones. Let's talk a little bit about a game that I didn't quite get to the window with, but it is something I will probably be looking to add later on. Buff, you might want to shut your ears off for this.
Yeah, I'm going on mute.
Good. Mute it up, buddy. I think Cal gets their shit. I think Cal pushes fucking Cuse's shit in today. -10. I missed -8. I alluded earlier in the week that I was probably playing it. I think Fernando Mendoza is a pretty good quarterback. I think people look past him. This Cuse team has really struggled the last couple of weeks. They are a shell of themselves. A couple of weeks ago, I had buddies talking about how Cuse needs to be in the top 25. They're going to, this and that. Since then, they've done nothing but get their shit pushed in. And I think it continues today. I think Syracuse has to win next week versus a very good, improved UConn team in order to get to their season win total. I don't even think UConn will be a layup next week. But as far as Cuse at Cal goes, I think Cal beats the fucking piss out of them today. So even at -10, it'll probably still be a play for me. Nothing official yet. If I do play it, I will tweet it out later. Kmart or Chaz, do you guys have an opinion on this game? Because we all know Buff just wants to talk about how good Syracuse is.
No, that's not true. You texted me earlier in the week, and I told you that it was going to be
Bad
Cal.
spot. You did.
It was going to be Cal or nothing. Syracuse is missing 3 of their better players on defense. 1 cornerback and 2 linebackers all 3 of them are out, which is why the line went from 8 to 10. So if I take anything in this game, which I don't bet against my team, it would be Cal or nothing. So I agree with you, and we talked about that during the week.
Yeah, we talked about it. I think I called you and talked to you about it on Monday. I think it was early.
I had no opinion on this game. I was kind of staying out of it, but the fact Buff just agreed with it, I will play Cal -10.
Chase, any opinion here?
I mean, even if you don't dive into the rosters or anything else, just looking at the line, you've got a 5-4 team that's a double-digit favorite against a 6-3 team. Like, that just doesn't fly. I mean, obviously somebody knows something's up.
Dude, Mendoza flies under the radar, man. This quarterback for Cal has been good. 3-1 touchdown interception ratio. The kid runs it. I think the kid's really good. All right, let's talk about some stuff that we have some money on.
Something to look at real quick, though, in that Cuse game, though, might be I think both with Syracuse's injuries and the Cal numbers that I looked at, an overplay might be worth a look too. I mean, I think Cal, like you mentioned, is going to score a lot of points. I think Syracuse can kind of get close to keeping up. I don't know what that total number is, but that might be a good bet too, is to take the over. But
yeah, I like Cal team total over 89.5. Just kidding.
if I could reach through this computer right now.
Just kidding. All right, let's get into some other stuff. Chase, you played a game on the money line. Why don't you talk about that?
I got FAU on the money line over Temple. Temple's just a bad football team.
What'd you get it at? What'd you get it at?
I got plus 105.
Okay.
Typically, I think FAU has just not had a good year this year. I think that's a better football team than what their record would state. I think Temple, on the other hand, is exactly what their record would state. Neither of these teams have been really good defensively, and I'm not in love with FAU's quarterback, but I don't think they'll have any issues running the football. Where FAU's gotten in a lot of trouble is when they're forced to throw. If you're forced to throw the football, then they turn the ball over a little bit too much. Tom Herman on the road, I think, is a better coach than what we're getting out of Temple. It's really more of a play against Temple than it is on FAU. I think FAU is a little oversold after the last few weeks.
The list is short, Chase. Like, how many coaches could you confidently say that Tom Herman is a better coach than?
Getting shorter,
short, but Temple is definitely on that list.
Yeah, it's getting shorter
for sure. Kmart, did you have an opinion on this game? It's one I looked at, but I couldn't make up my mind either way. It was ultimately a pass for me. No, Kmart? Good. Awesome. Good talk.
I didn't realize you asked me.
Did you have an opinion on FAU Temple?
No. I mean, I think I would lean with Chase, but I don't have an opinion on it. I'm trying my best to stay away from, these more obscure games, and just they're just too unpredictable.
Temple's not mainstream enough for you?
No, they're not. They're a college basketball team, school.
That's true.
All right. Well, Buffy, you had another one. I don't even know what time it is, but assuming based on who you played, I'm assuming it's the latest game on the board.
It's not. It's in the afternoon.
Is it really?
Yeah.
All right. Why don't you talk a little bit about Hawaii minus 2.5 and why you played that?
They play one of the worst defensive teams in college football. I think Utah State is. I think when I looked, there was 5 teams worse on defense than Utah State. They're struggling. They're 2-7 this year. They've lost. Let's see. Here's my notes. We took them last week. They covered against UNLV. Hawaii has covered 4 of their last 5 games. Utah State, really a bad team, struggling. One of the worst defenses in college football. They're allowing almost 475 yards per game on total offense. Also, they struggle against teams that like to throw the ball. Their passing defense is even worse than their rushing defense. Hawaii, as we all know, they like to pass the ball about 70% of the time. They throw the ball through the air. Utah State's lost their last 3 home games, which is where this game is, by a combined 43 points. I think Hawaii is the hotter team, the better team. And I think they're going to go to Utah State, and I think they're going to cover this number, but with no problems at all. I had this game more like 6 or 7, and when I saw 2.5, I jumped on it immediately. So we're on Hawaii minus 2.5.
All right, not a game I even looked at. Kmart or Chase, did you guys have an opinion here?
Yeah, I was this close to betting Utah State. I just couldn't do it, kind of as I was just saying, trying to stay away from the more obscure games. But I don't know. I still might. I disagree. I don't think the line should be 6. I mean, I wish it was. Then I'd really be on Utah State. But I don't know. I personally think it should be Utah State minus 1. But they also suck really bad, which is making me like, do I really give a shit that it's a stinky line? No, not really, because at the end of the day, flip up that beautiful fucking coin and, hope it lands. in your favor. That's what this game is to me.
Wow,
and that's
what a
why
strategy.
ultimately I'm just staying off of it.
What a strategy.
I just think it's two teams that are going in the total opposite direction. I actually watched the UNLV game last week. Hawaii should have won that game. They screwed up. They had the ball with a chance to win in the fourth quarter, and they were down in field goal range, and they ended up messing up, and they went for it on fourth down, and they didn't get it, and they gave the ball back to UNLV. And then
Buff, I could make the case for USC that they should be 8-1 this year because they fucked around in the fourth quarter.
Well,
but
USC,
at the end of the day, you are who you are in the fourth because you fucking suck. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean,
they beat good teams make plays in the fourth quarter. Shitty teams like USC just continue to just chop their fucking foot off.
I mean, Nevada's not a bad team. If you look at some of their statistics, Nevada's not a terrible team, and Hawaii beat them by 21 points. I mean, they've won 2 of their last 3. This to me, this is a team that's going in the right direction to where Utah State is the opposite. I mean, look at it. Like I just said, they've lost by almost 50 points combined at home on their home turf. I mean, I get it. I mean, the line stinks, which, is a poopy special like Hazmat likes to do, this line stinks. So maybe you take Utah State, but I just, I'm willing to pay the money to take Hawaii when everything that I look at and even the eye test tells me that Hawaii is the much better team.
Yep. I just can't get over the fact that Hawk just loves fading me and just posted UMBC and he thinks they win by 10. I can't wait for this. Awesome. All right. Well, Kmart, let's talk about a game where you might have the squarest play of the fucking year. Let's talk about why you like
that square.
BYU minus 2.5 at home in Provo versus Kansas.
Hey, for one, square bets win 2. 2, I don't know if it's that square. Like I'm seeing mixed results everywhere. But again, like the line opened -3. And again, it's like, oh my God. Like initially I'm thinking the public's going to jump to Kansas because they just beat the piss out of Iowa State. But I've been on Kansas a lot this year, probably 2-2 betting them. The 2 games I lost, they
could have been 4-0. Yeah.
They again are a team in the fourth quarter, as they showed last week again, that like to piss away double-digit leads. Not a team I really give a shit about backing. BYU is much better coached. They're much stronger on their defensive and offensive fronts where this game's going to be won. Turnovers, I'm going to say BYU plays a cleaner game than Kansas. And that's ultimately why I'm like, I don't give a shit. Good, the line came down to 2.5. Perfect. BYU's probably gonna do what they did to Arizona to them. Like the game they were supposed to lose was last week against Utah, which is why I was on Utah. Character building win.
They did lose.
They're going to be prepared today, and I haven't been big on BYU.
They
all
did
year.
lose. The referees helped them.
Just let them. Who gives a fuck? Every league's rigged. Like who gives a shit? Like if they were going to lose, if the league did not want them in the playoff, it was fucking last week, not at home against fucking Kansas.
So I'm going to tell you where I stand here. So normally Kansas would be an absolute hammer spot.
Hey, Thomas, am I waking up for you now, motherfucker?
Pull up the chat. Pull it up. So listen, my opinion here with BYU Kansas is my initial read was Kansas. The more I looked at it, the less I liked Kansas. I'm not looking to step in front of this BYU team yet. I have stepped in front of them and they fucked me. But I'm looking to fire multiple units against BYU in the playoffs. BYU, Indiana, Texas. I mean, these are the team, potential Boise State, Notre Dame. Sorry, Buff. These are the teams that I'm going to be looking to play against come college football playoff time. I heard something interesting yesterday if you guys were talking about. BYU wouldn't be favored versus any of the top 7 teams in the SEC on a neutral field. I think that's downright hilarious. This BYU team is trash. I just don't want to step in front of them because I'm rooting for them today. I want them to win this game so I could absolutely hammer whoever they play in the college football playoff.
But that's just college football, Joey. I mean, Notre Dame wouldn't be favored, or they would be the underdog in most of those games against SEC teams too. The SEC is
which they should be. Which they
right.
should be.
Yeah, the SEC is just a lot better conference. They get the better players. They get 4 stars and 5 stars. You have to spell your name properly to go to Notre Dame. You don't have to spell your name to go to Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, all these other teams.
Well, because they're worried about going to the pros. They don't care about college.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
They
They got different mentality. And you know, that's a testament to college football. The SEC is on level 1, and all the other conferences are a lot far behind.
That's for sure.
I think BYU is an interesting team. They're one of my favorite teams to bet on historically because they're always more mature. I mean, I think a lot of times we forget these are college kids. They're 19, 20 years old.
Half the
BYU
roster is married with children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get a professional effort out of BYU because I have more mature people. So like, I think that's one thing that gets undersold with BYU a lot. Are they as talented? No, they don't get the big fast receivers on the perimeter and things like that as a general rule of thumb, but they do play sound fundamental football.
I agree with that. 100%.
Okay.
I agree.
All right, let's move on. I have another play that I have money on in the afternoon window. Oh man, it's hard, but dude, I played the Florida Gators plus 3.5 for 1 unit. Me and CT Betts talked about this game at 7:00 this morning. He agreed. CT gave it out earlier when me and him played it. I'm hearing DJ Lagway's back, and let's be serious. I don't think this LSU team, this fucking team should not be laying points on the road in the SEC to almost anybody. I think this LSU team is pretty bad, honestly. Sneaked out a win versus the best team in the country in overtime in Ole Miss. Just got their shit pushed in last week by Alabama. That team quit last week. I think they know their season is over. I wouldn't be surprised to see Florida leave the swamp with a W today. But with Lagway back, 3.5, I think it's too many. Little upset I didn't play the 7 everyone could have got earlier in the week. But yeah, I think Florida's the side here, and I played them plus 3.5 for 1 unit. Kmart, opinion?
No opinion. Like, there's so many games. I feel like there's so many games that we can play today, but you know, I want to go with my Square Mormon pick and one more, and just leave it there. You know, I banged UW Huskies last night, so I'm just not looking to force. I'm just looking to make money like I did early in the year, and not just constantly just because I want to have action.
Yeah.
Chase, I saw you shaking your head because I told you before the show. I said I have a play that no one knows about. I actually have more that I'm going to give out in a little bit, but I saw you shaking your head. I know Florida's ugly. It's disgusting. Let's hear your thoughts.
Nobody that works hard for their money should back either of the major football programs in Florida.
Well, I have news for you. I don't work very hard for my money.
Okay. Well, then throw it away, man. Like those two programs are dumpster fucking fires. I would not put a single nickel of money that I've earned on either of those two teams. They're on the do not fly list.
He is at home by 10 watching Oprah most of the time.
Yeah, there you go.
Correct. All right. Let's get into Buff. You have a best bet in a game where I believe you and Chase actually aligned. Buff, why don't you start it off, and then Chase, you take it from there.
Yeah, so I think this is worth a sprinkle on the money line as well. I just think that North Carolina isn't double digits better than anybody in the country from the football that I've seen. I've had them a couple times this year, and they actually burned me. They didn't cover the spread. I think that Wake Forest, definitely as far as their offense, if you look at the defensive numbers for North Carolina, they have not stopped anybody, especially teams that like to pass the ball. And I think, what's his name, that quarterback, Drunken Miller, or whatever his name is there. I think that they're going to have no trouble scoring points here and keeping this within double digits. North Carolina, if Mac Brown, the team just hasn't done well throughout the whole year. And I don't understand the line. I'm willing to pay the price to watch this game. And I just think that the wrong team is favored, if you ask me. So I took Wake Forest plus the money or plus the points.
What'd you get for a number? Plus 11?
It is 11.
11. Nice. Chase, why did you like Wake Forest?
Again, one of those things that I'm not even interested in Wake Forest. It's all about North Carolina. They're North Carolina. I've been on the wrong side of so many North Carolina lines earlier in the year. They just looked like the right team to bet for about 4 weeks in a row. They couldn't get it together. They've put a couple decent games together the last couple weeks, but to be honest, it's that defense. Even if you think that Wake Forest isn't that great and North Carolina is going to be ahead most of the game, the back door is wide open in this one. They can't stop a nosebleed. So I just don't see a world in which North Carolina is double-digit favorites against any power conference team. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me that they're not going to be able to close the door and shut them out late with their defense. So to me, 10.5 or 11 is just too many.
That quarterback's name is Bachmeyer that I was talking about.
Yeah.
And another thing that I forgot to mention, and I'm with Chase too, I looked up a little stuff on Mac Brown. Since he's been to North Carolina, they've been double-digit favorites 9 times, and they're 0-9.
Yeah, I just don't
0-9.
see it.
0-9 straight up or 0-9 against the spread?
Against the spread.
Okay. Well, that makes a pretty big difference.
I wouldn't go as far as the money line because I do think UNC at home will figure out a way to win. But 10 plus points is nuts.
I'm sprinkling a little bit. I think that they got a chance to win this game outright. North Carolina can't stop a glass of water.
I agree. It's Wake Forest or pass here for me. It was a game I had circled and I looked at. I just ultimately couldn't get to the window. But yeah, there's certainly never a scenario here where I'm putting my money on North Carolina. All right.
It's another team that's fucked us a lot, like Kansas.
Absolutely, Kmart. They got me 2 or 3 times this year already.
Yeah.
100%.
Like honestly, I want to play Wake, but it's just like this is where North Carolina will fuck me again.
My head's it's the same hesitation I have. I'm like, man, I can bet on North Carolina to just play today, and they're like, nah, we're gonna sit out.
I'm not a big trend guy. The 0-9 thing. That doesn't make me go, oh shit, I better go put 3 units on Wake. That makes me go, law of averages.
Yeah.
That's
hard to
0-9 is great. 2-7, maybe 3-6 is more like it, but 0-9, at a certain point.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 0-3 going with them or against them today if this one loses, and I'm just gonna maybe put them on the do not bet list for the rest of my entire career.
All right, well, we got college football starting in about 25 minutes. Let's get to the big one. I know the Fade You boys are in alignment. Myself, Rusty Betts, CT Betts, me, Rusty, and CT Betts will be bringing this game home together tonight.
What? Dude, fly us out there.
That guy is the best golfer in Swampscott, Rusty Betts.
The Georgia motherfucking Bulldogs, 5-unit best bet. I gave it out early in the week at 8.5. Line ticked up to 10. It's come back down to 8.5. Now with the news that Tennessee's quarterback is going to play, those of you that don't pay attention much, ETN, stud running back for Georgia, is a no-go today. We had that info a couple days ago. Wasn't really a big secret. But listen, I'm going to let you guys tell everyone why Georgia is the side today. Kmart, start us off.
Because they're better.
They are definitely fucking better.
I mean, honestly, similar to what we were talking about Texas, they have to throat fuck somebody. They literally have to take them off the bed and just go to town on their throats because they are on the outside looking in for the college football playoff. They need big wins. They need to blow teams out. They need to blow out teams that are ranked. That's Tennessee. They're at home. They just lost to Ole Miss last week, where the public again was, oh, Georgia, oh yeah, they just got to win the game.
They didn't just lose that game. Ole Miss dominated.
Yeah, and now a week later, oh my God, they got to win by 2 scores against Tennessee, who, quite frankly, good defense, but offensively, I don't see them putting up enough points to cover. I don't know, 16 and a half. If we outline this shit, like, I honestly just don't see it. So yeah, I love Georgia. I mean, it's down to 8.5 now. I got them at 9. Don't really care. Like, but yeah, that's really the reasoning for me. ETN, like, I don't really care. It's college football. It's next man up. Like, there's very few injuries that truly affect a really good team. And ETN, yeah, really good running back, but they got others. Not concerned.
Well,
I mean, this is the time of the year. This is the time of year that Georgia usually separates themselves. I think they're still one of the top 5 teams, top 3 teams in college football. So I definitely think that this is probably a big overwhelming task for Tennessee today, and Georgia probably wins this game by 2 touchdowns or more.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the time of year, and this is the type of spot where I want to get behind Kirby. Georgia's down. Everyone's talking nasty about them. Looked like shit. Carson Beck couldn't score. Ole Miss dominated. Kmart, you're going to want to hear this. Don't go far with Sven. But yeah, listen, I got a couple other plays in this game. I decided I was going to give them out on the show. I played Georgia alt line minus 16.5 plus 170, minus 18 plus 205, and minus 20.5 plus 240. I've been screaming it all week. I said Georgia wins this game by 3 tutties. It's time to put my money where my mouth is. So that's that. Georgia alt line, all 3 of them. I did each of them for a fraction of a unit. So all 3 combined just spread 1 unit out throughout the 3. I did 0.3 units on minus 16.5, 0.3 third of a unit on 18, and 0.4 units on 20.5. So I expect Georgia to win in a big way today. Chase, I know this was your best bet as well. Why did you play Georgia?
There's so many reasons. I mean, the thing is, I kept looking for a reason all week to not just put the house on Georgia. I was like, there's got to be something here that doesn't go with what
got a mortgage now. Just do it.
Yeah, right. Just hammer it. Right.
3 months mortgage.
I cannot find. I could not find a single reason not to hammer them. Every person that I would say is a fade or a mush in betting is on the other side. I cannot find a single self-respecting bettor that is going to be on the opposite side of me. For me, there's that. And then when you start looking at it from an X's and O's standpoint, Tennessee has not been good on offense until they've played some bad teams. They've had a hard time putting up points. If you're going to get blown out, you're going to have some form of separation between defense and offense. You can't just have a track meet. So I don't think Tennessee is going to be able to move the ball very well, which is going to allow Georgia to really separate. So when you start talking about double-digit teams, like, okay, they not only have to win. When I see 10, I think 17. I need at least a touchdown ahead of that. Otherwise, I'm looking at a backdoor. So
I mean, even last week, I mean, that defense kept them in the game.
Yep.
Like, I think it got to 6. It was 16-10, right? And then Dart had the nice touchdown pass, 22-10, then, just a field goal. But I mean, it could have been so much worse. I just don't think many people other than Joey Cheese really understand how good that Ole Miss football team is.
When I was looking at it earlier in the week,
Ole Miss in March during basketball season.
Yeah. When I was looking at it earlier in the week, that's what we were texting in the chat. That's what I told. I mean, I was on the same page as Joey. As soon as he put Georgia in there, I said 16.5. At least this is an alt line opportunity because Tennessee is just not going to be able to score. I don't believe.
Yeah.
I don't see how Tennessee gets in the end zone twice.
That was something that I was looking good. That was something that I was looking at for this game too, is the team total under for Tennessee. When I looked at some of the numbers, when Tennessee's played against the teams this year that have had really good defenses, like Chase just said, they don't score points. The offense struggles. They don't move the ball up and down the field, and they don't even score like 14, 15, 17 points.
I would say
another thing I was looking at is Tennessee's team total under might be a good bet for this game too.
What this defense did to Texas, who is arguably top 3 to 5 offense in the country.
What do you see for team total for Tennessee?
I don't know. I don't even have my thing up.
I mean, the implied scores, Georgia 28, Tennessee 19.5.
I don't think Tennessee is getting 17.
Yeah,
I don't either. I mean, I would say, to be honest, the best chance Tennessee has of scoring is with their defense.
Yep.
They've got a really good pass rush.
Yeah, that line trickled back up to 9 again, too. I can't find their team total. Here we go.
Let me look. You got it? I was going to
say. Team props.
This is what we need Duke for. He would already know this.
Georgia is at like 26.5, and Tennessee is at 16.5. Yeah, they don't break 17.
Like I just said, they don't get 17.
Yeah, they don't get 17 today. This game ends like 29-10.
I'd hammer the under 16.5.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
38-10.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia blows them the fuck out, and I show off my dog's fucking turnover chain tonight live on X. Yep.
Syracuse basketball
Get ready,
blowout Youngstown State in 1 hour, baby.
Get ready. All right, listen, Fade You, Jay Buff, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
We will catch y'all next week. Kmart will be at the Packers 49ers.
Lambeau.
He probably won't be with us, but me and Chase will find a guest, and we will have somebody join us for next week. So
have Buff join because Duke says he'll be back.
Let's cash some tickets. We'll see y'all next week.
Go Dogs.
Who?